Welcome to Discover Joyous Love with Anita DeFrancesco as your host. This is a hybrid of topics under the subjects of mindfulness, sexuality, and relationships. Good morning, everyone. I thought I'd quickly jump on today to share some thoughts and information with you about victim mentality. You're listening to Discover Joyous Love. I'm your host, Anita DeFrancesco. It is August 29, year 2024. Yes, it is moving along. So what I wanted to quickly jump on about our topic today is get rid of the victim mentality. Now that is loaded. That is a loaded statement. And a lot of people feel or have experienced being a victim. But what is being a victim? What does it mean? Do we have to sit with that in our human constitution for the rest of our lives because we've been victimized or bullied or didn't come from such a great family? How do we overcome this victim mentality and this survivor type mentality? Now, I'll share a little bit about myself first. You know, I'm a psychotherapist, a love and relationship coach. I work with, bonded spiritual classes, teaching people how to connect, love, and open up to that higher spirit of the heart. And I have been many times in my life a victim, a survivor, a victim, a survivor. But in my book, Live Free, that I've written, I talk about this in there and how I recreated my life. And rather than tag on or have that label connected to my inner psyche the rest of my life that I was a survivor, or now I was a victim, so, I deserve special attention or special care in life. And this is wrong. This is really wrong because everyone in their lives, we are all surviving. If you want to look at it that way, if we don't eat, we don't live. So we're surviving in just the human basic way of eating and drinking water and surviving in that way. But if you have to attach emotion to that and say, I'm a survivor, I came from an abusive family, or nobody wanted me, or I was put in a home, or I was adopted. But, you have to grow from that. You have to grow, and you have to allow that to be your tool to teach others to be successful. So when you say you're a survivor and you continually can call yourself in that label, your self-esteem, what happens is your self-esteem and your self-worth continually become more suppressive. So when we are, I'm a survivor, but here I am today and I'm so great. Let's get away from the word survivor and victim. Now, a lot of people, they're victims. For example, there's a lot of, right now in our news media, people that are shooting guns for no reason. And, the law is giving them that extra special attention because they're a victim. But you know what? Everyone is a victim. When one suffers, we all suffer. Now, there is no victim if you get out of that headset. So for the rest of your life, because you didn't come from a good childhood, or you were, thrown in some, halfway home or something, now you're a victim. But you know what? What I talk about in my book is how we recreate our lives. And the more you stick with that victim mentality, even if you have successfully helped yourself and cured yourself and you have a great life now and a great job, et cetera, but in the back of your head is that victim that you were. That will keep you suppressed, and you won't move in the proper steps to success as you expect to or would like to, or even in your relationships of love. Think about that. If you have a victim mentality, how could you really fall in love with someone? Because you don't have the confidence. And, being in love with someone is not only in being in a relationship, it takes confidence, courage, and responsibility. So that's one of my big teachings, is teaching people how to have a responsibility in their relationships. So I want to talk to you about what victim mentality definition causes and how to stop, from an article that I got online by an author named Sylvie Saxena, who is an MBA, MSW, SAXENA. So I'm referring to her article here She calls it victim mentality or victim complex. And it refers to a person's belief that those around them purposefully seek to inflict harm or cause distress. Now that is, going into as a psychotherapist, that's going into the sociopathic, narcissistic headset. And, if we continue to live in that frame, like, oh, everyone's after me, everyone's out to get me, and you will if you stick with the victim mentality, you have to get rid of that. You are not a victim. You are not a survivor. You're a human being who recreates your life in every moment, in every experience. And that's what I've done. I never want to be a survivor or a victim. I don't ever use that terminology, and don't ever call me that. And I've been through it all, the domestic violence, the rape, the abused childhood, all of it. But I don't consider myself to be a victim. I recreated my life. I am a human being, and humans grow from their pain and experiences. And I don't care how little or how big they are, those experiences, and how damaging they are, and how you experience them. There is help out there, of course, for everyone to get the psychotherapy they need, coaching, whatever. So continuing with the author Silva Saxena's article here that I downloaded, she says the mentality makes them feel like the world is out to get them, right? So do you ever feel that way? The world's out to get you. But that's a pattern, and that pattern stays in you. So every relationship that you get in, whether it be romance, love, whether it be sexual, whether it be just a relationship with people on the job, that mentality is going to affect your self-esteem. And you will have a lower self-worth. Let's get out of the victim mentality. You're not a victim. You are not a survivor. You're a human being who has had the trials and tribulations of the thing we call life. And in life, we have to experience all of this. I don't care how great of a family you came from, you still may experience these ups and downs, or how bad of a life you came from. Whatever the degree that of life and stages that you have come through, and the patterns and the frozenness and the emotional blockage, there is a way to rise above that. Okay, so some people feel, like I said, the world is out to get them, and the misfortune they experience is due to others, a malintent. The victim mentality recurs to those who have the option to improve their situations, but choose to place blame on their surroundings. So getting back to this, how often do we blame others? If you find yourself blaming people, or in a control or denial type of character, you're always controlling, or you're always defensive, or you're always in denial. Defensive character. I don't like that character. When you say something to someone, you're teaching them, or just saying something, and all of a sudden they go on the defense. This means that they have this victim mentality that they're living with. Even though they're not a victim now, at the moment, they've come way ahead of that, or they're acting like they're some survivor or victim. They want attention. They want affection. They want sympathy. They become more a quasi-sociopath where, I'm sick and everyone should cater to me because I was a victim. Well, get out of that, because I'm tired of it, because the whole world is a victim. Right now, we're all a victim. We're all a victim of what's going on with the inflation. Okay, we're all victims of everything out there, of high gas prices. I don't want to get into politics in this, but we're all victims in one way or another. I don't care if your daddy or mommy beat you up or burned you with cigarettes. You know what? There's different levels of victimization, but victimization is one word, and you either are going to label it and live with it, or move out of it. And you're no longer a survivor. You're a person in life, living. So therapists, generally, like myself, can help you break those old habits and create new ones. What is the victim mentality? Let me continue here with this article that I have for you. I had to jump on. I've been dying to get this out there. Someone with a victim mentality will genuinely believe they are powerless in their own lives, and this affects your career, your relationship status. If you feel powerless, you're not going to succeed in love, or that job that you so wanted, or different things in your life. You may have to take a back seat or a passive attitude. If you take a passive attitude toward these, then this is who you are, and this is what you become. But there's a way that you can become better when you remove these words from restructure your cognition, remove these words from your psyche. Blaming others is a big thing in our world today, and everyone is insulting people, pushing and pulling and insulting. People have a lot of pain from the past because they don't understand all of this. And they want that sympathy. They want to be like, I'm a victim, so I deserve better. And that is not the case, folks. It is not. They blame others for their adversities that they encounter and feel that no one, or no matter what, they will always encounter bad luck. So they walk around with that, they're putting themselves down all the time, self-sabotaging. So if you find yourself self-sabotaging yourself, chances are you're living the victim mentality. Even if you got bullied for 2 days in school and that stuck with you, because those things can leave scars. Those who adopt victim complexes exhibit the martyr complex. They exhibit the similar behaviors to those with the martyr complexes, as they both tend to automatically assume they are victims of mistreatment. However, the mindsets behind each are different. Now, look, I offer this, Dr. Willem Reichsworth, the somatic psycho-ergonomy therapy, where you can really transform and get rid of all this head noise. Get rid of all these thoughts, these words that come into your head, because everything in life is about your self-esteem, your self-worth, and that is the ladder we climb. Now, whereas someone with a victim complex claims that others are responsible for adverse events in their lives, etc., martyrs can often be seen as people pleasers. So blaming people first with the victim complex, that anything that happens, it's someone else's fault, which you see that going on in our world right now. And the politics we are in today, in this day and age, is a really good teaching of the psychology of the human condition, the human behavior, how the blaming and the defense and the blame and the defense, and we're seeing a lot of that all throughout the news media right now. Martyrs can often be seen as the people pleasers and sacrifice their own needs in order to be seen as a hero. Now, look, there is giving and receiving, and we balance that out in Tantra Wisdom as my work, where we're teaching people in general in life how to give, how to receive, and how, if you're an overgiver, you might have low self-esteem. You don't feel like you deserve to receive. But if you want to be seen as the hero or want to help others, that's a whole nother topic, so we're not going to get into that. Is a victim complex permanent? A victim complex sometimes develops as a learned response to unhealed trauma. I'm going back to that. Ergonomy therapy, Dr. Willem Reichsworth. I'm a master of that, and you can see me. I can work with you online. I can work with you in person, or whatever city you're in. I'm the New York area, Philadelphia. And a victim complex sometimes develops as a learned response to unhealed. So that unhealed trauma makes you sit back in your seat and say, I'm not worthy. I don't deserve to get the man or woman or the partner, the lover that I want in life. So you'll settle for someone else because you don't feel worthy. Or the job that you want, or the success that you have set out in your vision for yourself that looks unachievable because of that head noise that says, I'm a victim. I have low self-worth or self-esteem. And you probably don't even know that you have low self-worth or self-esteem. And that part of you that says, I'm a survivor, so it's okay. It's not okay. Life is one big fight. Learn from the world that we are in right now of how all the psychology that is in our face all over the news right now. Thankfully, the mindset can be remedied if one takes active steps to address unresolved issues. Okay, so typically achieve therapy, all that kind of stuff. Signs of victim mentality. Now, there's many signs of this. Some signs that someone is playing the victim. You hear me? Playing the victim. Stating that people are better off without them. Dramatizing insignificant events. Learned helplessness. Fixation on negative events or trauma. Lack of empathy. Low self-esteem, like I said, that's the big one, and that one is highlighted here in ink. Needing excessive attention. Yes, someone that is a victim would need, but there's nothing wrong with needing or wanting affection and love. Now, there's a difference if you're needy, if you really are needy, or you just want to have love from someone. So being needy is one thing, and that can be disruptive and abusive to someone else. where you're trying to get that attention or love from, everything's done in a way where it should be balanced. So if you're wanting love and attention, that's fine. But if it's seen as over needy, that can be a problem. Blaming others for their actions. Oh, I don't like that one. Oh, I don't like that. I cannot stand when people blame. We're seeing it all over the news now. Everyone's blaming everyone for everything. And it's just, what's going in the kids' minds? This is going to become like the new character, blame people, whether you were a victim or not. But again, we're all victims. We're all victims. We're all survivors. If you don't eat your food, if you don't get a meal, and you don't get your water in your system for so many days, you can die. So we're surviving just with food. Being easily angered, irritated, or agitated. Yeah, so that, and severe self-pity, the sociopath. Oh, everyone feel bad for me. I've had this happened, and people will ride on you with that. They will tag onto your energy and get into your field, and you have to protect your peace. You must protect your peace, because when these people come into your field, it can be disruptive to what you've worked on with yourself already, where you are on your emotional journey, on your higher power journey. So this being easily angered, irritated, and agitated, that's a big one. Discharge that. I do that work in ergonomy therapy where we discharge. We allow the body through the breath, through the somatics, the inner experience of the body, to discharge the negative energy that's in us, and we charge up to discharge. So we have to charge first, the body. Why do people play the victim? Why? That's a question for you. Ask yourself that. They may play the victim for a variety of reasons, for money, for attention, for love. One may adopt the mindset to reduce responsibility in their lives. That's a big one. For avoiding certain situations, for having people jump in and do for them. So I want you to take a look at this, okay? Despite its seemingly short-term value, the behavior can prove problematic. Shifting accountability. It's easier to blame someone else than hold on yourself. So we must be accountable for our own actions, okay? And it's so easy to blame people today with this character that's going around. It's abusive, watching everything on TV, the way they abuse each other and they hold each other accountable for their own faults. I mean, I'm watching this from a psychological standpoint. And I'm feeling as though that this is not good for the young mind, because I guess it's okay to blame someone for your own faults. And we're seeing it like in the clear right now. So people also want to satisfy their unconscious needs. Now, your unconscious needs could be anything. Could be love, could be not enough affection, not even enough sexual pleasuring in your life, or pleasuring. Sometimes people play the victim to fulfill that childhood pain, that unmet need. What are your unmet needs? I want you to take a pen and paper right now and write down what you think was unmet, your unmet needs from childhood. One of mine was that I didn't get all the attention I thought I should have gotten. Maybe that's why I'm doing this podcast, so that you'll give me attention. No, but one of them was that. But I learned how to do things to teach people. So you bring it in a positive light, and at the same time you're helping yourself as well as helping others. Or they may feel that recreating the hurtful past, people don't want to go back to that pain, can allow them to relive and rectify these situations in the present. So they use this way, this whole thing of unconscious needs to cope with the residual trauma. And what I want to say is that in the ergonomy therapy that I do, Dr. Will Hamreich's work, you go to my website, tantrawisdom.com, and you can find some information there about what I do. This will help. We will have to relive the moment in order to heal, in order to recreate, restructure, and find that whole new person and bring your split back together and the armor that is there. And so once you become this victim, you're pretty much bouncing off of your ego a lot, or armor. And so you're devoid of feelings. You're lacking the feeling. You're letting go of the feeling. You're suppressing it. Let's see. I'm not going to get into all this, but past trauma is a big thing, right? Feelings of betrayal, when you're feeling betrayed for anything, not in any way. Your friends go on a trip and they don't take you along, or you get betrayed in a romantic relationship, or you're betrayed on the job. Maybe they promote someone and they don't promote you, and you certainly worked for it. So when there is that betrayal, there is a deep-seated root of sadness that lives inside one that needs to open up and live. We need to live that sadness. We need to express, we need to cry and scream. Then there's the codependency. That's a big one. That's an easy one, to codepend. And people are together in relationships because of that. And that's because they don't feel independent enough to be on their own, in the sense of they don't have enough boundaries, or they have attachment disorder. So the boundaries, healthy boundaries, creating communication and healthy boundary methods are important. Some have a desire for control, okay? And that's a big one. People want to control. Loved ones feed into the mentality by offering sympathy or encouragement in an effort grant the victim permission to continue manipulating. So control is manipulation. So what are the consequences of the victimhood mentality? Well, your friends and relationships are going to be difficult, challenging. They're going to be hot and cold. Feelings of resentment, feelings of guilt, shame, unworthiness. The shame is always there. Remember, it's there. We got to get to the sadness to remove the shame. Lack of enjoyment in previous activities. So some things that you can do to stop playing the victim, and we'll get into this and then we're going to call it a day. I have to go to a wedding today. So take responsibility for your actions, right? Have compassion for yourself. You have to love yourself, self-love. I will teach you that. Know when to say no. Know when to say no. When to say yes. Educate yourself. It's very important that we read books, we educate, we watch. There's so much around. I don't have to say, you've got the internet. Talk to a professional like myself. And then you have these people in your life that they're just going to constantly be the victim or the survivor, and you got to deal with it because they live with you, or they're in some form or way they're in your life, in some relationship of sorts, at work or wherever, at home, maybe your child, maybe your siblings. It's sometimes useless to try and help them. You have to just direct them with positive words. But to try to help them and complain, this is going to take away from your self-esteem. So the best thing to do is to provide direction. Don't give sympathy, because this is what they want, the victim. Anyhow, let's see if I have any more for you here. I got a few things I typed up. Let's see. I think for the victim, this might be where we are with the victimization. Ongoing trauma, ongoing traumatic conditions can affect. Okay, here's an example that I'm reading. An ongoing traumatizing condition that one learned to survive by being hypervigilant, looking for the first signs that the father was beginning to become angry. So what happens is these become patterns. When you're hypervigilant and you have this ongoing trauma, it's a pattern in your body, and so you become sort of addicted to that stimulation and that arguing. Or if the dad came home and he argued with the mother, you will recreate that in your own life. You will have a partner or someone that you live with where the arguing happens. We need to have a conscious awareness of the surroundings from where we have rooted up from, in order to remove a victim mentality, because we're just a victim every day in the world, from what we receive from the news media, the politics, the inflation, all that. We're just a victim to begin with. But to add the victimization of your poor childhood that was very, bullifying or, abusive, on top of all this is really can just eat at your humanness. So then this person here, this little article I'm reading, he goes on to survive by being as passive as he could. Some people become very passive to survive. There we go at that word again in this article, survive. No, live. We're all surviving. We're not a survivor. We live our lives. And most of all, this person supposedly learned to survive by being grounded and being in God's sustaining presence. So this is just something I'm reading an article, and I saw the word trauma in this and the word survive. So again, I'm going to close us out. I've been your host, Anita DeFrancesco, Discover Joyous Love podcast. You can find these podcasts on Spotify, on my website, Tantra Wisdom, AnitaDeFrancesco.com, AnitaDeFrancesco.com. But again, today our topic was getting rid of the victim mentality and knowing that if we are a victim or a survivor, we're not human. So think about that. To live your best human life. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.